Our reading is a feminist criticism. A feminist criticism defined as a critical practice that seeks to analyse and describe ways in which portrays the narrative of male domination by exploring the economic, social and political and psychological forces embedded in literature. In Shakespeare's Hamlet, women are presented as sexual objects only defined by their sexuality. The psychological dichotomy of an angel or a whore, Shakespeare's Hamlet suggests, an early modern culture displays the pronounced tendency to judge women only in relation to the diverse ideological dichotomy of the angel or the whore, Roxanne Grimmett, depending on their level of chastity. These two categories they are placed in are defined by their sexuality and therefore shows that women are defined by their sexuality. Men and women aren't equal on this level because it places females in a very small box in which they must adhere to, and males do not have such a box. Their virginity, purity or angelic status was to be sold and used for their carers, fathers, husbands, gods. As no man wanted a whore, the men aimed to keep the women pure. Therefore, they're virtually powerless and dominated by the ideology of the males around them. Ophelia within Elizabethan society is disempowered due to her lack of authority and decision-making abilities, whilst the males around her use her sexuality and purity to their advantage. Women were seen as objects of sexual release and property, thus dehumanising females and characterising them as objects rather than people. Ophelia particularly is used as a sexual object in the eyes of males around her, shown by their obsession with Ophelia's sexuality and purity. Their conversations with her usually centre around virginity and sexual status. Hence, she does not have any control over her body, her relationship, or her choices. Similarly, she is put under the expectation or pressure of maintaining sexually pure while being manipulated and used as a tool by the men around her. And the next bit. And this is us seeing. You should be able to play it directly from here. Or not. Why can't we? Maybe we exit out of it and alright. Because we tried it yesterday and we could play it directly from here. Do you have the clip? Okay, Nicole's got the clip anyway.
Oh, okay, yep. Oh, is it on your USB?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yep.
Sorry. Okay, well, thing isn't, like I said yesterday, it worked just fine, but today, apparently not. Okay, sorry about that. Okay,
So from C, we can see the main elements of symbolism, tone, characterization, especially through dialogue, motive, metaphor, and context of the text. So symbolism. The canker galls the infants of the spring too oft before the buttons be disclosed, and in the morn and liquid dew of youth. This quote from the scene shows how Ophelia is represented through the symbolism of flowers, and a canker, which is a worm, is Hamlet who eats at and hollows out her heart like a flower bud. Ophelia's sexuality is represented by buttons. This description provides imagery of an unopened flower bud, as Laertes describes it, opening and flowering. Through this comparison, he states that Ophelia is too young and innocent and will only get hurt by Hamlet, while the morn and liquid dew of youth is a reference to Venus, goddess of love. Also, since flowers are seen as sexual symbol of life and fertility and are often associated with female genitalia, the innuendo of unopened buttons creates a graphic allusion to female genitalia, thus turning Ophelia into a erotic object, only viewed as a way to achieve male desire. Elaine Showalter calls this dilemma a cubist Ophelia of multiple perspectives, because she is both fetishized by being viewed so sexually and is expected to maintain her virginity and innocence. The link between flowers and Ophelia is developed in the scene and carries as a motive throughout the play. For example, the unopened flower also represents Ophelia's youth. Hence, at the end of the play, when Ophelia goes mad, she physically deflowers herself by giving others flowers. She uses particular flowers to represent specific thoughts and actions. Thus, she gives away flowers such as a primrose, which represents youth and love, but also easiness. Therefore, the primrose path she mentions to Laertes is an attractive, easy path of youth. And daisy, which she picks up and sets down without giving it to anyone, only placing it on the ground. Seeing as a daisy is a symbol of innocence and gentleness, Ophelia evidently thought there was no place for innocence in the Danish court anymore. Therefore, Ophelia uses flowers as symbols of her minor place in the Danish court and suggests that the idea that she is giving away her innocence and life because of the expectations of the era. Body language is also symbolized in the play, being shown predominantly in the stage performances, as often the way the actors use their bodies show the power structure between the characters. In the 2009 BBC production of Hamlet, Ophelia stands with her arms wrapped around herself, separating herself from Laertes and the world. Similarly, when Laertes is speaking to her, she is sitting on the ground and looking up at him. This is symbolic for how Laertes is above her in the social sphere and hierarchy. Moreover, in Franco Zeffirelli's production of Hamlet in 1990, Laertes leans very close to Ophelia's face, not respecting any personal space, symbolizing how he thinks Ophelia needs to be told slowly so she can understand him, therefore acting like Ophelia is stupid and lacks cognitive functions. Finally, colours. The colours of Ophelia that Ophelia wears shifts as she loses her innocence. Initially, in Zeffirelli's production, she wears all white from head to toe. Then by the end of the production, she is wearing purples and heavily stained whites, showing her innocence that has been tainted, and as she begins to dress in dark brown colours and the pressures of the female dichotomy.
Tone. Tone is an important element in the scene as it shows a clear distinction between the treatment of males and females. Through the tone of voice and the word choice, a clear distinction between the way Ophelia is treated and the way Laertes is treated is established. Ophelia is spoken to in a patronising and condescending way, while Laertes is spoken to Polonius as an equal. The tone also establishes how Ophelia is a sexual object and looked down upon. It shows how she's stereotyped as unintelligent and over-emotional. How there is such a large focus on her being pure, because if not, she's unwanted. Yep. The tone in which Polonius and Laertes speak to Ophelia is very pragmatic and cold. They dismiss her feelings as childish notions and not a reality, therefore characterising her somewhat as an object without legitimate feelings, as well as having undertones of sexuality due to the sexual subject matter of the conversations. When Laertes talks to Ophelia, he elongates his vowels and talks very slowly. So it's almost like insulting her, saying that she's stupid. This and his choice of words are very condescending, saying that, "Be wary then, best safety lies in fear," illustrating how he thinks Ophelia cannot take care of herself due to her feminine status, and therefore must be afraid of everything to not get hurt and also to not get impure. Laertes, though, is a hypocrite because he wants Ophelia to be afraid of everything, but then he goes venturing across the world, and it's implied that he has many casual sexual relationships. So he's telling Ophelia this purely because of her feminine status and not because he actually fears for her. And also when Ophelia tells Polonius of her feelings, he says, "Affection, who? You speak like a green girl," calling her gullible and dismissing her feelings instantly. This is very patronising and dismissive of Ophelia's feelings, as it implies she's stupid and gullible and unable to think for herself. Once again, the man in Ophelia's life can be called a dramatic approach to her feelings, and Laertes' tone is full of blame. He blames her for pretty much everything, like her. Yeah. Okay, sorry. He's arguably looking out for himself and not his sister when he says, "Then weigh what loss your honour may sustain if you credent with ear you listen to his songs." He's claiming that Ophelia is listening to his songs, Hamlet's songs, and it's Ophelia's fault rather than Hamlet's fault. It's unfair how he blames Ophelia when Hamlet is the one making advances towards her, and he doesn't blame Hamlet for the advances he's making, even if they're the inappropriate advances he's making. He blames Ophelia for luring Hamlet with her sexuality and femininity. And also, consequently, Ophelia's tone is obedient, especially to Polonius. She finishes the conversation with, "I shall obey my lord," creating an air of obedience. This sets up the submissive nature of Ophelia that carries throughout the play. She also calls her own father Lord, which is a highly authoritative title that Laertes does use, but not as frequently.
Characterization. Laertes is characterized through his dialogue with Ophelia, which shows how he enunciates his words, speaking slowly and clearly. He is noticeably condescending towards her, thinking her to be slow and unable to think for herself. His authority over her is also reinforced when he gives Ophelia orders she has to obey, thus underscoring her feminine inferiority. These orders and advice is delivered by Laertes in a rehearsed manner, and the fact that it is blank verse rather than iambic pentameter, which Shakespeare normally likes to use, shows that he is not a man of deep thought, but rather is a pragmatist of ordinary intellectual capabilities. His vanity is shown when he thinks he can give Ophelia advice without taking it himself, nor having any real considerations for her feelings, as he never consults her, but rather simply spits at her. He tells her, "Fear it, Ophelia, fear it, my dear sister, and keep you in the rear of her affection." She is repeatedly told to control her feelings, as if she is not able to understand herself. Polonius is characterizing the scene as selfish, and although his exterior is seemingly caring for Ophelia, he really is only concerned about his public persona for his own personal gain. In his vague statement, "Don't be too quick to act on what you think. Be friendly to people, but don't overdo it." He's represented as a mundane, ordinary man because of his cliché and average advice to Laertes, but he still thinks he has the wisdom to tell Ophelia what to do. He says, if it be so as so 'tis put on me, and that in way of caution, I must tell you, you do not understand yourself so clearly, as it behooves my daughter and your honor." He talks to Ophelia as if he is doing her a great favor by warning her, and she is clueless on the subject. But in reality, he was only worried that people had been talking about him, and does not want Ophelia to tarnish his family's honor. Hence, showing the vanity of men and the poor treatment and dismissal of women. Furthermore, Ophelia meets the typical expectations of a woman in the medieval times, that she behaves obediently and is subservient to the males in her life. Although she is treated like property by her father, she is shown to be more intelligent and receptive, as she points out how Laertes' hypocrisy, another inequality in gender expectations of the time. She calls him hot and reckless libertine, but still keeps the effects of his good lesson as watchman between her half.
The motif of misogyny is present throughout the whole scene. It shows the prejudice against women and looking down upon them as sex objects that are over-emotional, irrational, and belong to a carer, father, or husband. They view women as non-intelligent and over-emotional, showing through multiple points of dialogue where the males establish their authority and power over her. The quotes here show some examples of misogyny, such as, do not the primrose path of dalliance tread, and wreck not his own reed. So she's saying to Laertes not to be a hypocrite, so he tells her all this advice about staying chaste and pure, while he himself does not take it, but it also brings up the difference in gender expectation in the time. And she also says, Laertes says, "Most humbly do I take my leave, my lord." Laertes does not acknowledge his father's advice, whereas Ophelia is subservient and agrees immediately, and she says, "I will obey my lord," and Laertes says no such thing. Polonius kind of interrogates her, saying, "Give me the truth," and he's suspicious of activities and does not trust her. Females were seen as sneaky and suspicious in the era, so Polonius suspects that he is not telling her the truth. And then when she tells him the truth, he dismisses her feelings immediately, calling her gullible and stupid, which is very invalidating. And then another motif presented throughout the play is the idea of contradiction, the males contradicting themselves. Laertes states, Laertes states, "Hold it in fashion and a toy in blood." He says their relationship is only a child's temporary interest, and that's why he doesn't want Ophelia being with Hamlet. But then he changes in the same scene to say, "Carve for himself, for on his choice depends the safety and health of his whole state," saying that now his reason they can't be together is because of his kingly duties, so the reason has shifted, and the inconsistency in his reasoning shows the intention is to make up any reason that Ophelia can't be with Hamlet, purely to keep her pure. The reason is not for Ophelia's feelings, but it's to keep her in that angel category, not the whore. And then the final motif presented that we had in this scene is the disparity of appearance versus reality. The male characters have a very proper public persona that they put on for society, so therefore by protecting Ophelia they protect themselves. Ophelia was seen as a representation of the males and a tool of the males and even a liability for them. So they use her to get what she wants, but then also she can tarnish their honour and reputation. So that's when they say, "Then weigh what loss your honour may sustain. Virtue itself scrapes not harmless strokes." They're saying that your honour will be hurt, and by relation our honour will also be hurt. So it's showing that they are protecting themselves, not Ophelia, by keeping Ophelia in that box. Next.
Metaphor. The characters in the scene mostly speak in metaphors, which gives readers insight into the levels of oppression and hypocrisy taking place. In the metaphor, the primrose path of Dahlia, Ophelia points out Laertes' hypocrisy through, once again, imagery of a flower that represents youth and love. This metaphor refers to an easy path of pleasure and daffodils, referring to a casual romantic or sexual relationship, as females were forbidden socially to have such relationships. But Laertes' cant shows the gender inequality between them. Ophelia tells Laertes to reach his own root, meaning he to his own vice, mentioning how he is telling others how to live in a path of purity while he himself is impure. This is shown further in the BBC stage production when Ophelia pulls out a condom out of Laertes' bag while saying this, showing that he intends to engage in sexual activity himself, while at the same time warning Ophelia to be afraid of it. Another metaphor, with a larger tether may Hamlet walk than may be given you. The comparison shows that women were kept on a leash like property and given less freedom than men. The discrepancies in gender norms are highlighted in Hamlet, as Hamlet, with his position in masculinity, was granted freedom, but Ophelia could never have. Polonius makes sure to emphasize this, reiterating that her status as lower than all males. Both her father and mother inform her of her duty as a woman to stay chaste and obedient to her family. Therefore, having to stay away from Hamlet despite her own personal opinions and wants. Laertes' line, if too creative ere you list his songs, or lose your heart, or chaste treasure open to his unmastered importunity, refers to Ophelia's chaste treasure, indicating that to be a virgin is a prize that can be won by others. This is objectifying Ophelia for her virginity, as she is seen as it is seen as an opportunity for wealth, as they place value on her pure virgin image. This represents her character as no more than her sexual status, therefore oppressing her and creating her into a symbol of sex and nothing more.
And then finally, context. An explanation into context helps to understand the treatment of women in this era. It also helps understand the contrast between men and women, because Hamlet is set in 1300s and 1500s, and during this period, gender roles were a concrete concept in society with no room for change. During this time, women would be silent, maternal, and a virgin if not married, and would follow orders of their husbands or fathers. Women were the domestic servants who were held by their fathers until they were married. A dowry is an exchange in kind for permission to marry somebody's daughter. Hamlet would most likely have to pay a dowry to Polonius, And another motive for the reason why Polonius wants to keep Ophelia in that virgin, pure angel box is because the dowry that would have been paid would have been much more. It would have been much more money because no man wanted an impure woman. And then this is the quote: "There is nothing that becometh a maid better than soberness, silence, shamefast, and chastity, both body and mind. For these things once lost, she's no more maid, but a strumpet in the sight of God." This is Bentley's The Moment of Matrons in 1582, which is around the time Hamlet was set, and it explains the idea behind Ophelia's treatment. This context is important for it gives an insight into the end of the play when Ophelia goes mad. It shows how she was oppressed by the Danish system and couldn't take it anymore and had to have some kind of catharsis or release, which was her suicide. Similarly, when her father died, she couldn't take any actions because she's not a man, she's not Laertes, so she has to suffer quietly. She likely feels the same pain, yet is condemned to inaction because of her gender. And Ophelia has no rights over her body and actions, and all power is taken away from her. All she do with her. It's tragic because it realised in this era that this happened to many females in the era, and they was put in the same position as Ophelia due to the context and the time they were in. Many women in that era were voiceless like Ophelia and drowned in the social hierarchy. Therefore, Ophelia's physical and metaphorical drowning can be symbolic and representational as a metanym of all the females in the era caught in the same suffering from societal oppression.
So in conclusion, women are consequently presented as sexual objects and are only interested in for sexual relief rather than their character. Women were also seen as over-emotional and were held with strict controlled by their fathers until marriage, which can be seen in Ophelia's and Polonius' relationship. This representation of women is misogynistic, as the males in the era were given much more freedom and often taught and looked down upon females. This led to characters such as Ophelia cracking under the pressure of the angel-whore dichotomy and eventually killing herself. Women were unfairly put under this dichotomy purely based on their sexual status, when no such characterization existed for men. Therefore, through a feminist criticism, it can be seen that Ophelia is unfairly treated by her male counterparts. She is treated condescendingly and only used for the gain of others, while at the same time being expected to remain composed, pure, and sane. Ophelia is treated as a tool and a liability rather than a person, and is only exploited for the sexuality she offers. Everything in the play regarding Ophelia related back to her sexuality, and especially Polonius trying to preserve her angel status, or as a whore, she would be most undesirable. Therefore, he would not be able to use her for his own personal gain.
Gemma, can you stop the camera, please? Okay. How do you start? The bread?